Hello, my name is Tanya Ghosh, and I am from India. Today, I will be presenting key insights from my paper, Parents as Co-Educators in Post-Pandemic Rural India. This paper aims to reimagine the role of parents in the Indian public education system and provides actionable recommendations based on learnings from the ground. So, since the announcement of the nationwide lockdown in March 2020, education systems in India have been completely disrupted. What this means is that 1.5 million schools have shut down, 247 million children from pre primary to secondary levels have been affected, among whom only 24% children had access to a device for learning. So while urban schools have been able to bounce back from the challenges, the situation in rural areas continues to be dire. 1 in 3 children had no learning activity in the last year. Mental health challenges such as heightened stress, anxiety, fearfulness have increased across age groups. And very importantly, there's been a loss of a sense of community due to the lack of access to spaces to play. While education systems have traditionally been designed as a give and take relationship between students and teachers, the pandemic gives us an opportunity to increase parental engagement with education, particularly in rural areas. So, the benefits of high parental engagement are very well known, but unfortunately, the role of parents in rural India is just limited to enrollment and attending parent teacher meetings. To be fair, it's very difficult to engage with parents for a multitude of reasons. One is that a lot of parents, either dropped out of school early or had no access to education and feel like their role is just limited to enrollment and ensuring attendance. Secondly, infrastructural limitations are rampant, from intermittent power supply to the lack of devices, limited access to internet. And a lot of these parents don't have time to engage with the child for a multitude of reasons, from the amount of work, etc. But that's not to say that the parents don't care very deeply for their children's education. In fact, what I have seen is that these parents are willing to pay for their children's education even at the cost of their own lifestyle. It just means that parents have not been able to meaningfully engage with their children's learning process. The recent annual status of education report 2020 shows that there is a lot of potential to engage with parents through differentiated engagement strategies. So it's not like all parents have had no access to schooling. Some of them, in fact, 53.1% mothers have completed more than 5 years of school, and 70.8% fathers completed more than 5 years of school. When it comes to access to devices, for children whose parents had low education levels, there was a 45.1% chance of their household having a smartphone. And for children whose parents had high education levels, there was a 61% chance of their household having a smartphone. So, what my paper looks at is exploring the concept of parental engagement through a behavior lens view. And it's involved extensive primary research with about 25 NGOs. The base of this research is the principles of a CAP study, which is the knowledge, attitudes, and practices study. And the reason I've chosen to go about it in this way is because a CAP study enables the development of tailored behavior change campaigns. So based on my research, I've come up with a 3C approach to increase parental engagement. So the first C is for context. So, education structures and content need to be designed and tailored to children's circumstances. Without this understanding, education cannot be made meaningful for these children. So, the second C is for continuity. So, as you know, for children, they've lost a sense of structure and mental well being because of the closure of schools. So, ensuring continuity is critical. The third C is for communication. So setting up periodic cadences with parents to provide support, get feedback, and monitor student learning outcomes. And the way to do so could be through, home visits, WhatsApp, SMS, etc. I have developed 3 best practices that I would like to share with you today. The first one is building parental awareness and knowledge. As you know, the first step is building awareness, right? So the role of parents and community stakeholders needs to be disseminated through targeted community campaigns and social media campaigns, following which teachers can look to create child-specific journeys, which is basically a plan based on the child's learning levels, their access to technology, access to internet, as per which the teacher can then track the child's journey across the year. The third is tracking, where it can be shared with parents how they can track through simple indicators and feel more accountable for their child's growth. So I can share with you that the SOS Children's Village, they develop child-specific journeys, which not only map the academic journey of the child, but also the social development of the child. In comparison, there is Vikram Sheila and Tomorrow's Foundation, who have developed worksheet-led assessments to identify the level of learning loss and hence take that as a baseline to plan the journey of the child. The second best practice I would like to share with you is enhancing the competence and confidence of parents through interventions planned specifically for parents of first generation learners. The way to do that is twofold. One, develop interactive activity-based curriculum, leveraging available material that the child can do on their own with their family. So, for example, leveraging everyday kitchen items that are available easily at home. I came across an NGO which is teaching that the children fractions by leveraging potatoes at home, where the mother can be equally engaged in the process of teaching. And the second way to do so is sharing voice notes on, say, WhatsApp or audio calls of activities that involve the entire community and can be monitored by parents. What this means is that you're breaking down the barrier of letters, for parents who may not be as educated as others. What this implies is that it gives parents a chance to engage and understand what the child is learning, and it signals to the child that the parent is interested in their education and hence gets them to commit to their learning. So what this means is that, homes have become safe spaces of learning, and there is now more parent responsibility and accountability. In fact, what I've seen is that now parents reach out to these NGOs that, we didn't receive the activity of the day, or we didn't understand what is this activity, if you could explain that to us. So it's a great way to build parent accountability. And now that government teachers have been declared as frontline workers, the state departments can develop repositories of such activities which can be disseminated across the community. The third best practice I would like to share with you is identifying communication channels to enable learning and create a sense of community. And communication channels can be threefold, right? One is through community stakeholders like your self-help group members, educated elderly, local administration, etc. Second is technology. So basis the access to technology, content can be shared on SMS, IVRS, WhatsApp, YouTube. The third is traditional channels like songs and storytelling, which foster a sense of family learning. So there is an NGO called Aid India where the teachers from the NGO link their phone to their TVs so that they can present a worksheet to a larger group of students. On the other hand, in tribal Rajasthan, there is Shamtale, who has developed an integrated audio learning program, which is disseminated through the community radio. So they basically adapted the state curriculum to stories and music, which is very relatable, and children are able to learn by doing. But it's important to remember that it's not just about content dissemination. It's important to have review mechanisms in place so that one can constantly revise and course correct this material to ensure easier adoption. So while NGOs have been at the forefront of ensuring learning continuity in rural areas, the state administration today has an opportunity to amplify these learnings and ensure outreach at scale. So this new normal has given the opportunity to enable the notion that learning is not limited to classrooms. And in fact, teaching at home is a long-term and a continuous process. In fact, parents can play a critical role in making learning a joyful experience and a collaborative process with schools, even beyond COVID-19. Thank you so much for your time.